Welcome to the Clinic Scripts podcast, where we explore how AI is being integrated in real-world mental health practice with a focus on preserving trust, empathy, and clinical experience. And today I'm joined by Robert Sims, a registered psychotherapist and co-founder of Embodied Relations, a Toronto-based practice that specializes in somatic and trauma-informed care. So Robert's work is rooted in supporting clients navigating complex emotion landscapes, including ADHD and relational trauma. So his therapeutic lens blends embodiment, attachment theories, and anti-oppressive practice, which makes him the perfect person to discuss the possibilities and the tension of using AI in deeply human-centered therapy work. Robert, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me on.
Let's start with the core of your work, the somatic and trauma-informed therapy. So these approaches are often intuitive, embodied, and rooted in lived experience. So from your perspective, how might AI tools complement these practices, particularly when working with clients who are, neurodivergent or managing ADHD?
Yeah. So what's really helpful for me is that because I am using the AI documentation, I'm able to be fully present with my clients. I don't have to worry about taking notes, about writing anything down. I can be present in the moment with the client when they're going through things. It's easier for me to demonstrate things, or if I need to shift task and look something up or grab some homework, I'm able to do that in the moment, and I don't have to worry about oh, I need to make a note of that so that it will be captured and reflected in the notes.
Okay, perfect. It's really nice to hear that. And I agree that for recently, there's a lot of therapists, they need to spend more than 2 and 3 hours on the documentation. So this is such a powerful example of what AI should be doing, getting out of the way so clinicians can stay connected. So when the tool is quietly taking care of documentation, it really frees you up to focus fully on the therapeutic moment, right? Especially in somatic or trauma-informed work when presence and the attunement are everything. So yeah, so now let's shift gears a little. Another area that demands that same kind of sensitive is couple therapy and the relational work. So in your view, do you think AI has the potential to support or complicate the relational dynamics in therapy settings, and how might that play out, particularly, when working with a high conflict or, the neurodiverse couples?
Yeah. So when working with couples, I really appreciate Clinic Scripts AI's ability to differentiate between kind of who's speaking. So that way, I'm able to kind of, when I go into the notes, I know okay, so it's saying the husband is saying this and the wife is saying this, and I don't have to worry about having to kind of parse that out. And the fact that it's able to kind of make that distinction is very, very helpful. When working with neurodivergent folks and myself being neurodivergent as well, the conversation can shift rapidly. It can go a bunch of different places. It can go circle around, kind of come back full circle. And so I really appreciate how the AI is able to transcribes it, takes that information and puts it into a note that is comprehensive, that is understandable, that makes sense, that is structured, so that I don't have to kind of go in and do my notes and trying to think, okay, we're talking about this and then this and this, and structure it in a proper way. I really appreciate how it can kind of do that work, and it takes the information, it presents it in a way that makes sense. And the ability to kind of go in afterwards and modify if I need to, because obviously AI is not perfect. And so if it does make a mistake or it says something or attributes something that isn't relevant, I can go in and I can make those changes before I move it over into my system. And I really appreciate the confidential aspect of it.
Wow, that's great. I really appreciate you bringing up how conversations with, the neurodivergent clients, especially in relational work, can flow in non-linear and complex ways. So that leads perfectly into the next topics. Given the diversity in how neurodivergent individuals communicate and process information, so how do you think AI tools could be a better personalized to support those clients while still aligning with a trauma-informed and like the respectful approach?
Um, so when using I really appreciate how, like I said, it can kind of like it looks at the whole conversation
Mm-hmm.
and then is able to distill it down into kind of what the kind of important pieces are. So it takes out kind of some of the fluff and is able to focus on what is kind of the crux of the issue. And again, I can go in and kind of add and modify if needed, which I really appreciate. But with neurodivergence, we can kind of wander all over the place. And so be able to kind of do that is really helpful. And the other piece, and I kind of spoke with this briefly before, but be able to be present, because when you're working with neurodivergent folks, as I said, the conversation can go many different places. And so having the ability to really be able to focus on what they're saying and follow kind of the different ways that their brain is going is helpful, because I'm not trying to be like, okay, well, you said this and I'm trying to like write it down and so I don't forget it. Is I can be fully present and follow what they're saying and track it. Because I've had clients that will say to me afterwards, like, oh, I'm sorry, kind of I'm all over the place. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. You're talking about this and this and this and this. And they're like, you can track that? And I'm like, yeah. One, because my brain's also neurodivergent, but two, because I can be fully present. I'm not worrying about like, oh, I have to make a note so that I don't forget something.
Oh.
So it allows me to really kind of focus in on what they're saying and follow kind of the conversation. So we're able to work with what they want to work on. And I'm not kind of losing track of what's being said or kind of missing little pieces that ultimately are very important, but maybe aren't something that is planned for, kind of just content. And so kind of be able to hear that and latch onto that and kind of move therapeutically through the conversation. I don't have to worry about like, am I going to miss this?
Oh, absolutely. And it's great to hear how AI can help you cut through the noise and surface what truly matters in this session, especially when, like the conversation move fluidly or even operate dictatably. So that ability to, be still while still giving you like to editing control seems like the kind of collaboration clinicians need rather than, the automation that's overridden them. But as we both know, bring AI into therapy, especially in sensitive and the trauma-informed context, comes with ethic questions too, right? So I'd love your take on this. So what ethical consideration do you think are most important when integrating AI into therapy, particularly around things like autonomy, data ownership, and maintaining clients' trust?
Yeah, of course. That is a big consideration. And actually, a big part of why I ultimately ended up going with Clinic Scripts was because of the confidentiality piece. A lot of every kind of AI therapy company out there is like, oh, we're PHIPAA, PIPEDA compliant. But what I really appreciate is that you don't have to create a profile. You don't have to put in like any identifying information. It takes a transcript of the conversation in real time. So it's not recording anything. Nothing's being uploaded to the cloud. It creates the note in whatever format that you want. You can go in and change it, kind of take it, whatever, and then move it over to your system, which is secure. And then you clear it and it's gone. And so even if I wanted to go back and like, oh crap, like it didn't save, well, like I didn't, it's like, oops, I closed it before I was able to move it over. It's like, well, it's gone. There's no going back and be like, oh, I'm just going to pull it up. It is 100% gone. So for me, just having that peace of mind of knowing that nothing is saved, nothing is uploaded. And another piece to that is that it's not being used to kind of train other large language models to try and replace us as therapists. I know that is a concern for a lot of therapists and for myself as well, is that the use of AI as replacement therapists. And so it's like, well, why am I teaching it how to do my job?
Yeah.
And with this, it's because it's not. It's the transcript is being created, the note is being created, and then it's just gone. Nothing's uploaded. I don't have to worry that this is being stored somewhere else and then analyzed to teach AI how to become a therapist. Because as we know, really the real work in therapy is through the therapeutic rapport. It's not just what you say, it's not just
Mhm.
the modality, but it's the connection you have with the therapist. But there are still people that are going to want to use AI because it's cheaper, easily accessible, all those things. But I really like with clinic scripts that I don't have to worry about this is being used to try and supplant me. It's used
Mhm.
as a tool to collaborate with, to make my life easier, not that I'm worried that I'm trying to teach it how to take my job.
Oh, okay, that's great to hear that. So from my side, so when AI can offer real-time support without storing or exposing anything, that's a game changer for trust and safety, right? Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
When I'm
so
able to tell that,
mhm,
sorry, when I
like,
tell that to clients, when I say like it's Canadian based, so nothing's going like overseas, it's not cloud based, it literally happens real time and then it gets erased. I've not had one client that has refused to allow me to use the AI documentation system because they're like, oh, so nothing is stored, nothing is sent. It's literally just the note and then it's gone. And yeah, and they're like, oh, so then they're okay with it.
yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so close us out. I'd love to zoom out a little. So, as someone who works at the intersection of somatic healing, like the trauma-informed practice and neurodiversity, so what excites you most about the future of AI in relational and embodied therapy? And on that flip side, so what are you still cautioned about?
So this is kind of the benefit is that it records the audio.
Mm-hmm.
It creates the transcript. But with some somatic work, there's breath work, or you're kind of like showing something. And so if it's not audio based, it is a little hard for the Clinic Scripts AI to follow it or to integrate it into the note. So that is a limitation of it. I'm not sure how you get around that because I know others will actually video record the session,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's also that piece of like, well, then how do you take the video recording and then do that in real time? Because I don't think we're quite at that place. We have to save it and then do it, and then that interferes with the confidentiality
Yeah.
piece. So that is for me one of the limitations. But because of the confidentiality, that I'm willing to take that limitation that we have currently.
Mm-hmm.
And I know technology is always evolving, and we may get to that point where we don't have to, kind of upload video to do that, and may be able to do it in real time.
Mm.
But for now, given kind of that limitation, I am still very, I will take that to ensure the confidentiality.
Wow, that's such a thoughtful reflection to end on. Because I believe you are right. We are making real progress in real time, text based sport, but when it comes to semantic practice and also like the breath work or non-verbal therapeutic work, there are still some, like the clear limitations. And for the integrating those elements without compromising the privacy and the client's trust is a challenge we as a field still need to solve. Well, Robert, thank you so much for bringing your grounded, compassionate, and incredible, insightful voice to this conversation. Because your perspective as a trauma-informed relation therapist using AI responsibly is existing the kind of like the north we need to work on in this space. And to our listener, thank you for joining us on the Clean Scripts podcast. If you're curious about how AI can support therapists in ways that are ethic, human-centered, and trauma-aware, be sure to follow us and learn more at Cleaning Scripts. Until next time.